The Pastime Dialogues.
Okay, so this is the Pastime Dialogues show number 3, and joining me is a thespian. It's Ivan from the Breaks.
Hi Martyn, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. All the better for catching up. It's been a while since I've done a show, to be honest.
Hey, I know the feeling. As followers of the Breaks know, there are sometimes months that go in between episodes, but then we release 2 right on top of each other, so.
I wouldn't say right on top, because I've caught both of the episodes 4 and 5 as soon as they've gone out. But yes, with having episodes 1, 2 and 3 there, and then getting all the Kickstarter information, waiting months, it has been a long slug.
Yeah, and I do apologize for that. We did the Kickstarter. We filmed the first 3 episodes. We filmed the first one in June of last year, and it took that long to get that one done that in the meantime we filmed 2 other episodes because we didn't want to lose momentum. So some of them take a little longer than others, and then we had to pause and do the Kickstarter, and then we had to get the ball rolling again. And one little thing that came up is my director, who produces and writes the episodes along with me, he is a full-time soccer analyst for the radio in Los Angeles. So we had this little thing called the World Cup that happened right after our
you
Kickstarter.
Just said soccer. It is actually football.
Oh, my apologies. Soccer, I hardly know her.
I say that because the worst team in the NFL is still the 32nd best American football team in the world.
That is very true. Very true.
No, it's not throughout the world as football. It's just called soccer because of that's how they worded it in the official rule book.
Huh, that's interesting.
I believe it's because the game of the sport of rugby was called rugby football. But that's a bit of a weird thing.
Well, the funny thing is, because I try to be respectful and a purist, most of the time when I talk about it here, I correct my fellow peers and say, no, it's actually football. But of course, then I get on the phone with someone overseas from my place. God, I'm just going to dig myself into a bigger grave here.
No, it's okay, because to be honest, when I'm talking to American, I refer to football as soccer and American football as football usually. But I did try out for an American football team.
Really?
And
they're in Great Britain?
Yeah, there are a few. This one, they hadn't played a game yet. I've been photographing the youth team, and there were a seniors starting up. And the first time I tried out, I carried the ball and I didn't fumble it. I went to the ground, put my knee down after I was tackled, and then I was shown the 5-point hold. And the next time I was tackled, I broke my wrist.
Oh.
But I still didn't fumble.
Well, that makes you better than 2/3 of NFL running backs. You've never fumbled, so.
No. But I haven't made I don't think I had any positive yardage. It was just in a practice scrimmage setting. It takes a lot. Even with the pads on, you've still got a lot to go wrong.
Oh yeah, no, I did play football in high school, so I know. I know the feeling, and I'm slowly turning into Uncle Rico and thinking back to how good I could have been. I'm getting to that age.
Mm-hmm. So obviously you're a huge football fan.
Yeah, football I'd say is, I'm afraid to say I think I like it a little better than baseball. I know a lot of my peers in the card collecting world might scoff at that or guffaw a bit, but I enjoy baseball thoroughly. It was my first love of sports, but football just has a bit more action to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's I mean, baseball. I'll get a lot of stick. It can be a boring sport, but with so many games, the season seems to last forever. And I think what baseball is, it's learning how to watch baseball. When George Ryder comes out to the mound like he seems to do every out played, it takes 5 minutes. So I think you've got to learn that happens. So switch between 2 or 3 games. I think baseball needs to be watched picture in picture.
That's a good strategy. And I think another part of it is just right now in life, I'm so busy I don't have the time for baseball.
Yeah.
Because I love watching it. And the year that when I was 5 years old, I watched every single Chicago Cubs game that year. Absolutely loved them. Absolutely loved them.
Sorry,
Still my favorite
what
baseball team of all
again?
time. Sorry, what was the question?
What year was that you watched
1989.
1989. So I would have been 4.
Oh, so we're right around the same age.
Yep, I am 29 in a few days, so...
Oh, happy birthday, Martyn.
Well, thank you very much. I'll share the same birthday as Jesse James, Bill Mazeroski, Colt McCoy, and
No, part of why I really enjoy this is I have a weird enjoyment. Maybe I don't know if it's from acting or from being sheltered as a kid and reading too many books, but I love listening to British voices. So when I listened to your first podcast, I was like, oh, I could listen to this all day long. Just these guys talking about superfractors with British accents. So, and I love the British TV shows. Luther, Sherlock. Oh, they're fantastic.
I don't know. A lot of British TV is utterly ridiculously stupid.
But that's funny too, like Faulty Towers. Oh, love it.
Yeah, a lot of people say that it's greatest comedy, but they only made 6 episodes.
Yeah, but what about what was that show with Hugh Laurie and?
Blackadder.
No, the other one that he did. That's like the variety show with him and the other guy. This is how bad I am. I've watched, just about all of them on Netflix, but I can't remember even the other guy's name. But
Stephen Fry.
Yeah, Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie. They had a variety show decades ago now, and it's still absolutely hilarious.
They did something called Jeeves and Wooster too.
Yeah.
I didn't like Jeeves and Wooster.
I never saw that one.
It was very bad. It was very... Well, you see, they're both Oxbridge, so they're well educated, and I'm very anti-elited. I hate elitism. But Stephen Fry is a good actor, comedian, writer.
Yeah.
Very clever guy.
Yeah.
Yes. Right, so Ivan, you're a big football fan. So, what are your favourite teams for all the 4 major US sports?
So, for the 4 major US sports, my baseball team is the Chicago Cubs, as I mentioned. My football team is the Chicago Bears. My basketball team is the Chicago Bulls. And, of course, then my hockey team is the Los Angeles Kings.
Well, you're showing some hometown love for where you're living at the moment.
Yeah, I wasn't actually a big hockey follower until I moved to Los Angeles. So I decided, I'm not going to just pretend that I like the Blackhawks since I like other Chicago teams. I'm going to actually go to a game, and I became a Kings fan. So, and I'm very proud to say I had the license plate cover on my car well before they were Stanley Cup champions. So I'm not that bandwagon Los Angeles fan.
Cool. So I've noticed a lot of love for Chicago, but not the White Sox.
No, I was raised, again, I'm from Omaha, but my dad's from Chicago, so that's where that first came from. But in the States we have, television is weird how different companies can get access to things. And in the 80s, there was a station based out of Chicago. This was before cable was really dominant, but but they were what's called a superstation, in which they actually were able to broadcast across the whole country, even though they were a local station. So they had the Cubs games and not the White Sox games. They were WGN. So we would watch the Cubs. So that was my team.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
So, I mean, I just watched with the White Sox. I just watched yesterday morning. I watched one of my favourite films of all time, 8 Men Out. If you've ever seen that.
You know what's funny there is I have never actually seen it, but it was a stage play before it was a movie.
Yeah, it
and
was
so
a
I've
book originally,
seen
I believe.
and actually performed mini monologues from it for acting all through college, and I did do theater in Chicago for a year before I moved to Los Angeles. So I'm very familiar with it, and I still haven't sat down and watched the movie.
Well, you should, because it is one of my favourite films of all time, and the cast is sublime. So, who would your favourite players be? And let's start this off with baseball.
Baseball, everybody knows Chris Bryant. That said, he's not even in the majors yet, so some people are probably laughing at me. But it's the first time the Cubs have ever gone out and drafted the biggest bat in the draft. And he's leading the minor leagues in home runs. They need to call him up. They probably won't until the beginning of next year. But I've never been more excited for a baseball player than I am for Chris Bryant.
Yeah, it's a unique thing for baseball now with all the prospects. And obviously you have the Cubs and the Yankees who would just overpay for already. They would let the A's, the Padres, whoever, have the players, and then when they were proven, they would just overpay for the players. If you would.
Yeah, it is definitely a unique system in a sense. I mean, I like to joke that the Royals are actually the best AAA team in the league, because once a guy gets good enough with them, he goes to another team. But I really like that since Theo Epstein took over in Chicago, he's been focusing on building up the farm system. And we've seen just over the last 6 weeks, they called up Alcantara, they called up Jorge Soler, they called up Baez, and they were 20 games out, now they're only 14 games out.
But I don't think they're going to repeat the feat of 1908.
Yeah. Thanks, Martyn. Thank you. Just rub it in.
Well, it had to be said.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, I'm used to it. They're known as the lovable losers.
Yeah, it's kind of just like the Red Sox until the Red Sox won in 04.
Yeah, what was their general manager's name when they won?
Theo Epstein.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
Which
That's
I
funny,
was
ain't
about
it?
to say. Yeah, it's all about time and actually sitting down. Obviously, the Cubs were bought a couple of years ago, weren't they? It's like the Florida Marlins as they were then. When was he the general manager for them there? I know John Henry was the owner, and they went out and won the World Series. So your favourite baseball player is Chris Bryant.
Yes, sir.
How about a favourite veteran player? One that's actually spent time in the major leagues.
Yeah. Well, all-time favorites, Greg Maddux.
Yeah.
Nolan Ryan. Really enjoyed Ryan Sandberg and Mark Grace, of course. Current player, it's kind of tough because I really just got back into following it a couple of years ago.